Hello all you Bitcoiners out there, this is Brian here, the UKBitcoin Master, back with another video in my series Bitcoin for Beginners. Welcome to the show guys, great to have you here with me. Today's Monday the 6th of August 2018 and strong hand, have yourself a strong hand. Bitcoin for beginners. There are so many people out there that are coming out with comments all the time to me, and a comment I had recently when I was trying to explain to somebody about Bitcoin was, oh crikey, that's a risky investment, isn't it? So this show is going to be about risky investment, and I'm going to draw some comparisons. Before I do that, as always, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Bang the bell button so you get any notifications when I post any videos. Do follow me on Twitter at UKBitcoinMaster. You can also follow me on Steemit and DTube at Buzz27. As always, my philosophy is buy, hold, wait it out. 2020 halving, 2024 halving, any of these things I'm mentioning that you don't understand, go and Google them on YouTube and see what comes up, and it'll help you to understand what I'm talking about. It really is strong hand. As I talk, Bitcoin's down again, so it's extremely volatile. And I guess that's why people say things like that Bitcoin's risky, isn't it? So on this particular video, I want to draw some comparisons to that. Bitcoin is risky. None of us know where it's going to go, but if you do your own research, you'll draw your own conclusions, as I've done, and that is there is only one way Bitcoin can go, and that is up. Let me tell you why. Because it's a brand new asset class that everybody said wouldn't amount to anything. When it started out back in 2009, it was about 7 cents a coin. Today, even with the crashes, you know, it's around $7,000 a coin. On my previous video, I put some graphs up that showed the highs and the lows of Bitcoin since inception, and every low has finished higher than the previous high. So it's only going to go in one direction, and there's lots of commentators that will educate you on that, none more so than Andreas Antanopolous. Everybody feels he is the guru, the Bitcoin guru, if you want facts, figures, statistics, etc. And Andreas calls it Bitcoin, the internet of money. So if you are new to this channel, go and, I'll put a link below to one of Andreas's videos so you can subscribe to his videos, and that's all coming under the umbrella of education. And you really must educate this. Don't listen to people like me and others. Do your own research. Now, when I first got into Bitcoin in mid-2017, the guy that introduced me to it said, look, I'm passionate about it. I'm bullish about Bitcoin, but do not invest unless you do all the research you need to do to draw your own conclusions that it's a good investment. So today's topic is Bitcoin is risky. Yes, it is. It could go down as well as up. Forgive us all for feeling very strongly with all the fundamentals that it's only going to go up, but it's going to have a lot of downs on the way. But, let's have a look at your pension. Particularly here in the UK, the pensions industry is in crisis. Final salary pensions are ending. Pension schemes are changing. They're not worth the paper they're written on. We've got a demographic shift in society where, because the baby boomer generation, 1 billion babies born worldwide after the war up until around the mid-1960s, because there are now more elderly people than youngsters, there are less people paying into the pension fund and more drawing out. Well, common sense prevailing tells you that is not sustainable, and the pensions industry is already in crisis, and we're hearing rumours everywhere that ultimately we will all work until we die. Now, is that risky? paying money in every month to draw on a pension that when you get to your golden years isn't going to be there. So there's one risky. What about working for an employer, keeping your head down, having a good job after a good education, hoping to work for maybe 40 years and then retire with a handout, a decent pension so that you and your loved one can go and see the world? Well, ask around. Who do you know who's got a fantastic pension and can live on maybe 2/3 of for what they couldn't live on for 40 years for up to 30 years in retirement? Isn't that a bit scary? Isn't that risky? What about starting a business in the high street? Maybe you go out and start, open a coffee shop or a hair salon or a nail salon or something. Are you aware of the statistics of small businesses? Now, to start a business, if you've got a shop in the high street, you might need to raise £30,000 for a lease just to get your business up and running. Then you've got to employ a couple of staff. Then you've got to stock your shelves if you've got a shop that buys and sells stuff from wholesale to retail. Then you've got to deal with all the business rates, the heat, the light, the health and safety at work. And then if that wasn't enough, you're going to work 24/7 for at least 3 years maybe to get that business really in profit. And you know what? Here's a statistic. They tell us that over 60% of all small businesses that start today will be gone in 12 months. What if you're one of those and you've mortgaged your house against that business as collateral and that business goes under? Maybe you're watching this video and you're thinking, well, I'm already into my second year, I'm doing okay. Look around you, ladies and gentlemen, at the big household names that have gone to the wall. Woolworths in the UK I'm referring to here, HMV, Poundland, Mothercare, recently Toys R Us. Do you think you're immune to that? You're a small business, remember. These have got millions, to put into national advertising, international campaigns, etc. And there's you out on your own in the high street. So 60% upwards of small businesses go pop in 12 months. They tell us up to 60% of what remains won't see their 5th anniversary. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be you, but what if it is? Isn't that risky? What about putting your money into a high interest savings account or an ISA in the UK? The interest rates are appalling right now, so savings are appalling as well. But if we start looking more at the Bitcoin world, Bitcoin is there because traditionally over history, there are very few fiat currencies that last a test of time. Most of them never see 50 years out. And the dollar, the pound, the euro, the yen, etc. The dollar's coming up for 50 years old and it's already in crisis. So isn't it risky having your money in a bank account? Because I think it is. If you start to look at countries like Venezuela, where they've literally gone into hyperinflation, and the governments have had to use what we call bail-ins, where they freeze everyone's bank accounts and they give you back a little bit at a time, and they use your money to help the company prop up. Countries like India that have actually withdrawn, big banknotes, and they're worthless today, and if you've got them, you've lost that money. I could go on and on and on. So yes, Bitcoin's risky. But if I look at my own portfolio right now, my Bitcoin pot, if you will, my first Bitcoin I purchased at £1,500. Even with all the volatility today, all the highs, all the lows of late 2017, early 18, it is still sat around the £6,000 mark. So in a little over a year, my risk has grown 2.5 times. Well, for me, that is a risk worth taking, and a risk that I invested where if it did go to zero, my life carries on as normal. I haven't loaded bank account, debit cards, credit cards. I haven't used my family's savings. I haven't used money that I can't afford to lose. So therefore, of course, it's a risk for me. But what if, and Bitcoin is 3x'd since I got involved, what happens if a Bitcoin 3x's every year for 10 years and you put a little bit into it? You know, if we look at the Bitcoin track record for, you know, the last 9 years, I mean, in actuality, it has grown in under a decade over 700,000%. Now, it's not going to grow, it may not grow like that again over the next decade, but what if it did and you put a little bit into it? What if it only grew maybe a tenth of that and you put a little bit into it? So yes, Bitcoin investment is risky. But when you do the research and you see the financial institutions that are now starting to quietly amass Bitcoin, that tells you that Bitcoin isn't going away and they're quietly accumulating at the lowest price possible because they know down the road the price is going to 10x, 20x, 50x and some. So yes, a Bitcoin investment is risky, but I'll tell you something, the way it's going, in my opinion, it is definitely a risk well worth taking. So that is our show for today, guys. Bitcoin is risky, but everything out there is also risky. And there's an old saying in life that the risk takers always win. So take a risk on Bitcoin and let's see what happens maybe as you watch this video back in 10 years' time. I'm Brian, the UK Bitcoin Master. Please like this video, share the video, subscribe to my channel, bang the bell button. Follow me, please, on Twitter at UK Bitcoin Master, on Steemit and DTube at Buzz27. There'll be any links with regards to this show below. Do check out the notes section below, guys. There's always 4 or 5 previous videos. Please watch them, like them as well, and share them on so that we can get this message out to the masses. Whatever you're doing, guys, have yourselves a fantastic Bitcoin day, and I'll catch you all on the next video.